So this is our group, and so the logic that the group came up with to use here is that we can take all the definitions of aging, figure out for each of those definitions what pieces of evidence or what ideas they accurately describe, and then what counterexamples work for all of them. And then that generates this like field where you can take any particular idea and then prove or disprove it, and then that will eliminate or validate all the definitions of aging that cover that particular idea. And Veronica will describe the questions and our answers to them.
Yeah, because basically we came to the conclusion that we have to discuss this with the whole field. And we do find this a big problem that we don't have precise and we don't have a consensus on the definition of aging, because all of us here, we have a common goal, right? We want to fix aging. And precision of our understanding and the definition will directly impact the quality of our actions and the efficiency of our efforts. So we do think that the lack of a clear definition of aging presents a major obstacle for collaboration and advances in the field. And we do need consensus on aging, rejuvenation, and biological age, because imagine how that would impact like deciding on what are the best biomarkers of aging, right? And then with that, we can get the interventions we are all after. That's where it starts. And maybe it feels a little bit like a step forward, because we do feel like probably most of the people in the field think that they know, that they have their own definition, or that they even solved it in their own way. But if we take this little step forward, maybe this would be before a big leap forward. Sorry, a step backward, of course, before the leap forward. So yeah, without an agreement on what we study, and it's hard to form a unified force and also to convince the public. It would be very beneficial to identify where and how to intervene with aging. And as I mentioned, why it's undervalued is because probably most of people think they actually know the answer. And other people think that the problem is too difficult because it is a systemic problem, which is also why it's so freaking important. Where are we today? We have many definitions of aging with no consensus on what aging actually is and what causes it precisely. We can't advocate because of that for moonshot projects because we have no common, clearly defined goals. And what we would see short term is we would like to organize a conference where we could focus on this topic and collect data from the whole community. That's a starting point. Medium term, we see that that would allow to develop a clear definition of aging and move towards the consensus. And that would allow us to build a more unified force. And long term, we could pursue like real moonshot projects. So what public and private actions we need and would have the biggest impact on those goals? We thought of organizing a focused conference on what aging is, presenting and debating ideas and definitions that are already circulating in the field. For example, one session of pros and cons of one definition, we think that would be an excellent intellectual exercise and a very stimulating one. We would like to do questionnaires and online resource to engage the whole field in this process. And we would also propose to create an incentive on the topic to focus our efforts. We were also thinking about some other forms like podcasts or debates and so on. In regards to what we would need to do these things, so to organize a conference, we were thinking, for example, about an impetus grant or perhaps the prize from Foresight Institute, just crossed our minds. We were thinking about doing a website where we could put our effort out there for the whole field and the public. We need a promotional video in which we would be explaining why it's important, explanatory resources, promote sessions or debates and panel discussions on this topic at other aging conferences to promote this topic and to seek what we want, which is the consensus.
Great. Right on time. Questions, comments?
Yeah, in your own group, did you guys have your own definition of aging that were different, or did you discuss that?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So one of the things that we were going through was in the previous slide. I'm not sure. Okay. So this is a sort of a functional, I guess, test of the logic. So we have these different definitions, and it's like, okay, well, do counterexamples exist for this? For each of these definitions, what do they actually explain in regards to aging? And then what can you find out that's wrong? So there's multiple definitions within the room. The consensus comes partially from potentially getting everybody on board with the same one, but ultimately what I think is going to happen is that at the very least we can let everyone know what it is that people believe, and that you should know why you disagree with other people, so that you can know the counterexamples and the evidence for and against any one of these theories of aging. How much does it cover? What are the holes in it, right? So that at least, and I think that a lot of people out there, for their own definition of aging, they aren't aware of their counterexamples that exist for their definition. So we can at least get to that point, and I think that's pretty easy to do.
A question here.
Over there, yes.
So I don't believe in the fable about blind philosophers and an elephant. They came to consensus. All right. What would be a criteria of success for this enterprise? We will have a conference, we'll have a website, we will argue, and I believed in this. This is important. We will be converging. But did you guys find a way to measure? Are we there yet? Did we converge?
We can. I wish there was a whiteboard here, but that's okay. So we can draw out the entire field of ideas. First of all, that's a step in the right direction. I don't think that even exists right now. Then we can figure out how many of these theories hold up when we describe the counterexamples to people. Like, how many of these theories are just out there because people just don't have enough information, versus how many theories are like, yeah, I do know the counterexamples, but I still believe this anyway, and here's why. So we can get to that stage, and I think that's easy. Will we reach complete consensus? I don't know. Possibly. I hope so, but that's not necessary for success in my eyes. I think as long as everyone knows what it is that they know and what the limitations are, and they can describe other people's opposite beliefs accurately, then that's success to me.
Because we get closer to the goal, and anyway, it's going to be an ongoing effort. I can't imagine this being a one-time conference, and getting to the ultimate consensus forever and ever.
One thing that keeps bothering me about this is the question is what is aging and not what are aging. Yeah, it's like some of these are not mutually exclusive. Like antagonistic pleiotropy and programmed aging is there's just absolutely no reason that there can't be antagonistic pleiotropy driving factors of programmed aging, for instance. So maybe when you're all done, do you think you'll have kind of a map and it might even be on a hallmark by hallmark basis, how much of each of these is. So it's not just you're not going to come out with aging is X.
Right.
You'll come out with this detailed, multi-dimensional map.
So some of these definitions can be combined together without any conflict, right? So I believe that aging is accumulated damage plus antagonistic pleiotropy plus programmed obsolescence.
In which tissue?
And so, right, and so we can go through and we can build, a structure of like, okay, well then why do I believe that, and what evidence and what things poke holes in my concept of it, and then, and so yeah, we can definitely combine. And I think that what's going to happen is that we'll find a lot of these definitions combined together, and that.
And to answer Leon's question, do you think that a way to know whether you have arrived yet is if you have the conference 2 quarters in a row or 2 years in a row and the answer stays sort of the same-ish versus is getting further and further?
That's a good point.
Okay, wonderful. We have to wrap it up, unfortunately.
Okay.
But thanks a lot. This was great.